So imagine you are driving your car down the highway at like 70 miles an hour.
Okay.
And suddenly, without you even touching the brakes or, pulling over to the shoulder, a team of mechanics just seamlessly swaps out your entire engine.
Right, while you're still driving.
Exactly. You keep driving, the steering wheel feels exactly the same, the dashboard looks completely identical, but the actual underlying machinery powering your vehicle is, it's fundamentally different.
And if you don't realize you're driving with a totally new engine, you might put the wrong oil in it the next time you stop.
Precisely. And that's exactly why we are doing this today.
Mm.
Right now, Shopify is sitting on a stack of documentation detailing pretty much that exact kind of forced mid-highway platform migration.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It really is. It's going to quietly but fundamentally change how your shipping rates work.
Yeah.
So today's deep dive is all about demystifying this shift for you. We're looking at a complete platform move from an old system called delivery profiles to a completely new architecture called shipping options by market.
Yeah, and just to set the context for you listening, we are looking at this in mid-August of 2026. So this isn't some speculative roadmap feature for next year or whatever.
How's it happening now?
It is. On October 1st, 2026, an automatic gradual rollout begins for stores across the platform. It structurally alters the very plumbing of your shipping rates, and there's a hard, unavoidable deadline of July 1st, 2027.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. By that date, every single store will be operating on this new architecture, period.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because I know the phrase forced platform migration triggers a very specific kind of dread for anyone running a store.
Oh, absolutely. It's terrifying.
It sounds like an absolute nightmare, right? Like the kind of thing that just completely breaks checkouts and causes your customer service inboxes to catch fire overnight.
Yeah.
But going through these sources, it is actually designed to be a remarkably smooth transition. The system genuinely does the heavy lifting for you.
It does, yeah.
But, and this is a massive, but here, that is only true if you understand exactly what the system is doing behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't audit a few very specific kind of hidden settings, you could be silently bleeding money or, completely locking your own logistics staff out of their tools.
Which is exactly why, before we get into the literal mechanics of what happens to your store on moving day, we really need to understand the underlying architectural shift.
Right.
We have to know why Shopify is swapping the engine in the first place,
Yeah, let's start with the old engine,
Yeah.
the system that the vast majority of you listening are still operating on today. Shopify refers to this legacy system as being product-driven.
That's right. In the current setup, your delivery profile is basically the absolute top of the hierarchy. It's the primary container for all your shipping logic.
Okay.
You create a profile, and then everything else kind of hangs off it. Your location groups, your shipping zones, and your actual dollar amount rates. And crucially, you assign individual products directly to that profile.
Right. And the analogy that really crystallized this for me when looking through the documentation is thinking about a massive fulfillment warehouse.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, so the old product-driven way is like organizing your entire warehouse purely by the item itself. You put all the T-shirts in aisle 1, you put all the coffee mugs in aisle 2.
Regardless of where they are eventually being shipped in the world.
Exactly. But the new system, this market-driven system, it completely inverts that logic. It's like reorganizing the entire warehouse by the final destination.
Right.
You take everything, go into Europe, whether it's a T-shirt, a mug, or a pair of boots, and you put it in one dedicated staging area.
That visualization captures the exact structural change. Under the new model, markets become the ultimate top container. Your shipping options live inside those geographical or strategic markets, and the shipping rates themselves are just variations within those options dependent on, product and location conditions.
But this brings us to a major operational shift, right? Because of this new structure, you can no longer assign shipping rates directly to individual products or specific variants.
Yes, and for teams who are really used to the old way, that is going to be a hard break in their workflow. If you want to apply a specific shipping rate to certain items now, those items absolutely must be grouped together in a collection.
Wow.
Yeah, you can no longer just, handpick 5 random product variants and directly attach a shipping rate to them.
At first glance, that feels incredibly restrictive. Like, why take away the granular ability to just click a product and manually attach a rate to it? It kind of feels like you're losing control over your own catalog.
I get that. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, Shopify's stated reason here is long-term maintainability.
Okay, how so?
Think about a massive enterprise store with thousands of shifting SKUs. Collection membership adapts automatically over time based on the rules you set.
Ah, right, like auto tag.
Exactly, like
Okay.
auto-tagging all items over 50 pounds into a heavy collection. By forcing rates to be tied to collections, you don't have to manually dig into your settings and repoint your shipping rates every single time your product catalog changes. Or, when a new season rolls out, the system just maintains itself dynamically.
Okay, that makes sense structurally. So the foundation is flipping from what the product is to where the product is going and relying on collections to do the sorting.
Right.
But let's get into the reality of moving day. What actually happens to your existing live shipping rates when Shopify finally pulls the lever and upgrades your store? Because I think the ultimate fear for you listening right now is waking up, logging in, and finding an entirely blank shipping settings page.
Yeah, and Shopify is actively trying to get ahead of that exact anxiety. The documentation is really explicit here. The quote they use is, most merchants don't need to take any action.
Most
Right. When the upgrade hits, the platform automatically maps and migrates your existing rates into this new market-driven structure. You aren't going to be sitting there with a blank screen rebuilding your whole shipping matrix from scratch.
Okay, but I have to push back on that reassuring language a bit.
Yeah.
Automatic mapping sounds great in theory, but what if a store has been operating for 5 years and things are, a little messy?
Sure, yeah.
Let's say I have 2 totally separate shipping profiles in the old system, and in both of them, I created a rate and just casually named it standard,
Oh, boy.
right? So I have 2 rates across my store with the exact same name, maybe with totally different prices. How does an automatic migration handle a collision like that?
That is exactly where that most merchants caveat comes into play, and it's the first major mechanism you really need to understand. If you have rates that share the exact same shipping option, name like standard or express,
Yeah.
they do not stay separate in the new market-driven system. They are automatically consolidated into one single shipping option.
They merge.
They
Got it.
merge.
But wait, if they merge, what does the customer actually pay at checkout if both of those underlying rates theoretically apply to their cart?
This is the crucial part. They do not add together. Under the new architecture, the absolute rule is that only the highest matching rate is charged. The system looks at the merged options, takes the highest price, and completely ignores the rest.
Oh, wow. So if I had a standard rate of $5 for lightweight shirts and another standard rate of $15 for heavy winter boots, and a customer puts both in their cart,
Yeah.
they don't pay $20. The system just charges them the $15.
Precisely. The system completely absorbs the lower rate.
That is a massive detail. I mean, if your margins rely on those shipping rates stacking to cover your actual fulfillment costs, and you haven't audited your rate names, you are going to be silently eating shipping costs without even realizing it.
Oh, absolutely. And that actually leads right into the next thing you might notice when you log in post-upgrade.
Okay, what's that?
Because the system is moving your old logic into this new collection-based framework, it has to create containers to hold everything, which means you might look at your collections page and suddenly see new unpublished collections that you definitely did not create.
Wait, really? Like what?
They usually have these bracketed prefixes like bracket shipping bracket fragile.
Seeing unrecognized collections just pop up in the admin would immediately make me think the store has a glitch. Or worse, that a third-party app has just gone rogue.
It looks alarming, I admit, but it is completely intended behavior. These are essentially ghost collections.
Ghost collection.
Yeah. Remember how we discussed that the new system cannot assign rates to individual products anymore?
Right.
Well, if you had manual product groupings in your old delivery profiles, Shopify's routing engine automatically converts them into these ghost collections. It's basically building an invisible framework so that your migrated rates continue to route correctly on the back end without you having to build all those collections yourself.
Oh, okay. So if a bracket, shipping bracket, heavy items collection suddenly appears, just leave it alone. The engine is just wiring it up so your store doesn't break.
Exactly. Don't delete it.
But if the backend is doing all this invisible routing with ghost collections, what does this new market-driven logic look like to the actual customer on the front end?
It looks like split shipping, and this is a very, very deliberate design choice by Shopify. In the new system, split shipping is permanently turned on.
Wait, permanently?
Permanently.
What if a merchant specifically went into their settings last year and turned split shipping off? because they prefer to consolidate orders into one box.
The migration will override that and turn it back on. Your customer might now arrive at checkout and see their single order automatically split into multiple shipments.
Oh.
Yeah, perhaps arriving on different days, especially if those items are pulling from different locations or fall under different delivery profiles.
Why force that, though?
Yeah.
Why take away the merchant's ability to turn that off and present a unified front to the buyer?
What's fascinating here is that Shopify is using this architectural shift to force a specific standard of customer transparency.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, e-commerce has become intensely complex, right? Multi-warehouse routing is the norm now, not the exception. By keeping split shipping always on, Shopify is basically forcing the reality of fulfillment to the front of the checkout experience.
Ah, I see.
It sets accurate delivery expectations for the consumer, rather than letting merchants sort of obscure the logistics behind a single, often inaccurate, delivery date.
That's a pretty significant shift in the customer journey that merchants just have to accept.
Yeah.
And if the customer experience is changing that much, your logistics team is probably going to want to get in there and tweak things.
Yeah.
But the sources highlight a massive operational hurdle right there.
Yes, the permissions hurdle. The staff members who manage your shipping settings today might suddenly find themselves completely locked out of making any changes on moving day.
Why? I mean, if they already have shipping permission, shouldn't that just carry over?
You'd think so, but no, because shipping now lives inside the markets container. The new system requires a specific, distinct markets permission to alter anything. It is not granted automatically, and it is not grandfathered into existing shipping rules.
That seems like a huge oversight. Or is it intentional?
It's intentional. The logic here is separation of powers. Managing global market strategy like localized pricing or regional catalogs is fundamentally different from printing shipping labels or tweaking a zone rate.
Right.
But because shipping now lives under markets, your logistics staff need that specific key to get through the door. Whoever handles access in your business needs to manually grant this market's permission to the relevant team members.
Man. So we have merged rates, eating margins, ghost collections holding the back end together, forced split shipping on the front end, and your staff potentially locked out.
Sounds like a lot when you list it out.
It really does. With all these highly specific moving parts, I think the obvious question for you listening is, when exactly is this happening to my store?
So, as we mentioned, the gradual rollout begins October 1st, 2026, and the final deadline is July 1st, 2027. But there is a date before that, which is actually already passed as of mid-August 2026.
Right.
On August 1st, the legacy delivery profile APIs were officially deprecated for early adopters.
Okay, we need to translate that because API deprecation sounds incredibly technical, but it has real-world consequences for the merchant, right?
Definitely. Think of an API like a delivery driver who carries information between a third-party app and your Shopify store.
Okay.
Deprecating the old API is like demolishing a house and building a new one down the street. If an app is still using the old API, it's basically sending the delivery driver to the demolished house.
So the app thinks it's doing its job, but nothing is actually happening.
Exactly. The driver drops the package on the empty lawn and marks it delivered. There are no error messages on the app's end, but you, the merchant, never received the data. An app might try to update a live shipping rate, but because it's writing to the old system, your actual live store doesn't change at all. It's a completely silent failure.
And a silent failure where money is involved is the absolute worst kind of failure. Which brings us perfectly to the next point. Here's where it gets really interesting. Your specific automatic upgrade date might not be random. It might be entirely delayed by one of those third-party apps.
Yes. This is a vital safety net that Shopify engineered into the rollout. If your store relies on a shipping app that calculates or returns live carrier rates directly at checkout, and that specific app is not yet compatible with the new market-driven architecture, Shopify will intentionally pause your store's upgrade.
It's like a subway train sitting at the platform with the doors open, completely refusing to depart.
That's exactly it.
It's holding its schedule because it's waiting for a VIP passenger, your shipping app, who hasn't bought their ticket yet. Because if that train leaves without the app, the entire checkout experience just breaks down. Customers won't see a shipping rate, and they literally cannot complete a purchase.
It's a great safety feature, but the frustrating part is the total lack of visibility here.
What do you mean?
There is no public master list of compatible apps. You can't just go to a Shopify Help Center page and cross-reference your tech stack. Shopify is managing this incompatibility silently in your back-end admin.
So you're just supposed to wait and guess if an app is holding up your migration?
You cannot afford to wait. If you rely on an app for live carrier rates, say pulling real-time FedEx or DHL rates into the checkout window, you must be proactive.
Right.
You need to reach out to the app vendor directly today and ask them point blank, are you fully compatible with Shopify's shipping options by market? You need to get that confirmation directly from the source.
Okay, so we know the massive rollout window is October 2026 to July 2027, and we know a live rate app might hold your train at the station. But since you can't easily pick your exact automatic date on a calendar, how do you take control of this situation before the system decides to make the leap for you on some, random Tuesday morning?
This brings us to your two windows of control. You have two distinct phases where you can actually steer how this migration impacts your business. The first window is before the upgrade, and the second is after.
Let's walk through those.
Before the upgrade happens, you might look in your admin settings and see a prompt offering early access to the new system. That is your first window.
Go.
After the upgrade happens, whether you initiated it or Shopify did it automatically, you enter an opt-out window. This is a temporary grace period where the system allows you to revert your store back to the old legacy delivery profiles.
Wait, let me challenge the logic of that first window for a second.
Sure.
If this migration is eventually going to be forced on absolutely everyone by July 2027, why on earth would I click early access? Why would I volunteer to undergo a major architectural platform shift a single day sooner than I legally have to?
Control. Clicking that button is purely a strategic advantage.
How so?
Well, if you ignore it and let the system upgrade you automatically, it is going to happen on Shopify's schedule. What if that random automatic date happens to be the Tuesday before your biggest product launch of the year, or in the middle of Black Friday prep?
Oh, that would be a disaster.
Exactly. By clicking early access, you force the migration on your exact schedule. You can pick a quiet week, push the button, do the migration, and have plenty of time to run test checkouts and verify shipping margins without the pressure of peak traffic.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. You're controlling the chaos rather than just letting it happen to you. So if someone is listening to this and they want to seize that control, what exactly do they need to do before they push that early access button? Let's distill the sources down into an actionable audit.
Good idea. There's an 8-step audit outlined in the docs, but let's just highlight the absolute critical path you need to walk today.
Okay, what's number one?
Number one, document everything. Write down all your current rates, zones, and prices before anything moves. You need a baseline record of what your shipping looked like so you have something to compare against after the engine is swapped.
Right, relying on your memory when customer shipping fees are on the line is just a terrible strategy. What's number two?
Hunt down those duplicate rate names we talked about earlier. Find every instance where you used a generic name like Standard or Express across different profiles. Decide right now which single price you want to survive the merge and rename the others.
Crucial. And number three?
Check your apps. If any app returns a live rate at checkout, email the vendor and confirm their compatibility with the new market architecture.
Got it. And number four, go into your staff permissions right now and grant that manual markets permission to anyone on your fulfillment or logistics team who needs to touch shipping settings.
Yes.
Do it now so they don't hit a wall on moving day.
Exactly. Now, this raises an important question about that second window of control, the opt-out window. We mentioned you have a temporary grace period to revert back to the old system.
Right. Let's say I push the early access button, I do the upgrade, and something just feels horribly wrong. Maybe my international rates look totally skewed. If I hit the panic button and opt out to revert to the old system, what happens to any of the new rates or collections I built during that test week? Do they come back with me?
They do not, and this is a really vital warning from the documentation. Reversing course during that opt-out window permanently destroys any new shipping changes, any new collections, or any new sub-region markets that you created after the upgrade occurred.
Wow, it wipes them entirely.
Completely. The opt-out window is designed to be a safe testing environment so you can assess the new architecture. It is not a permanent escape hatch.
So,
You cannot use it to undo a bad week of sales. It literally rolls back the underlying code structure of your store. And you must understand that once that temporary opt-out window closes, it is a one-way door. You can never go back to the old system again.
that is a pretty stark warning. But to lower the blood pressure just a bit, I want to point out something encouraging from our research here. The sources note that as of mid-August 2026, scouring all the major developer forums and the Shopify community boards, there are virtually zero merchant complaints surfacing about the actual technology of this migration failing.
That's a huge relief.
It is. There are no horror stories of checkout spontaneously combusting, which means the real risk here isn't the technology failing you. It's you arriving at the deadline fundamentally unprepared for the new logic.
Exactly. The system is working as intended. The failures, if they happen, will be human error, like forgetting to update staff permissions or not auditing those duplicated rate names before the merge.
So what does this all mean? Let's bring all these technical moving parts back to the big picture for you. The ultimate takeaway from this deep dive is that the Shopify shipping migration is not a monster hiding under the bed. It isn't something to fear.
No, not at all.
But it absolutely requires an hour of focused, proactive housekeeping from you. Do not let duplicate rate names cannibalize your shipping fees because the system merged them and blindly took the highest one.
Right.
Do not let a third-party app hold your checkout hostage. And please, do not let your warehouse staff get locked out of their own tools just because you forgot to check a permissions box.
Proactive management is really the key here, but, if we step back from the immediate checklist for a moment, this migration points to a much larger and, honestly, a much more profound shift in how commerce operates online.
Yeah.
Shopify isn't just tweaking a shipping menu here. By forcing this unified market structure across every region, every point-of-sale location, and every B2B transaction, they are fundamentally altering the DNA of the platform itself.
How so? What is the real shift?
Think about the history of online selling. For years, the foundation of e-commerce was always, what are you selling?
Okay, yeah.
The product was the center of the universe, and everything else was built around it. Now, the fundamental architecture is shifting entirely to who and where are you selling to.
Wow.
The destination, the market, is the new center of the universe. So the question I would leave you to mull over is this. What does this mean for the future of localized marketing?
That's a good question.
If the very platform you use to sell is reorganizing itself deeply around geography and distinct markets, are we rapidly moving toward a future where the concept of a single, unified, global storefront disappears entirely? Will it be replaced by hyper-localized, invisible borders built so deeply into the platform's code that every single customer essentially experiences a completely custom store based entirely on where they happen to be standing?
The house hasn't just been rewired. The rooms themselves are shifting depending on who walks through the front door. It is a massive paradigm shift, and it starts with your shipping settings. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. Our best advice to you: don't wait for the engine to fail on the highway. Go log into your admin settings, check which system you're currently operating on, and start your audit right now. See you next time.